Have you noticed something strange about tourists in the USA lately? Fewer people are boarding planes from abroad, checking into hotels, or buying souvenirs. It's not that we suddenly forgot how to put up a nice hotel or serve a delicious burger. The drop has a nickname, the Trump Slump, and it all traces back to policy choices made by Donald Trump's administration. Picture this. Back in 2016, the USA was the world's second most popular destination for tourists. Nearly 79 million people came from all over the world to experience America. We were close on the heels of France, the world's #1 destination. But then something changed. Tourists started staying away. The country fell from second to third place, overtaken by Spain. Numbers tell the story best. The first drop was dramatic, a 4% decline in international travel and a 3.3% drop in spending by tourists. That might not seem huge at first, but when you do the math, it adds up to a staggering $4.6 billion in revenue losses and about 40,000 tourism-related jobs gone in a single year. So what went wrong? For a start, the Trump administration implemented a travel ban that made headlines all over the world. Citizens from several Muslim-majority countries were suddenly barred from entering the USA. It wasn't a huge number of people, but it sent a powerful message. The USA seemed less welcoming, less friendly, less open for business. Meanwhile, tough talk on immigration and restrictive visa policies made it more difficult and more confusing for tourists from many other places to come here. Stories started to emerge. A Canadian grandmother, Cheryl, for example, canceled her trip, saying, "I just don't feel safe going there." It wasn't about her. It was about the country's climate. The land of opportunity seemed a little less inviting. And it wasn't just visitors from far-flung or developing nations feeling the squeeze. Even travelers from close allies like Canada, Germany, and Australia began sharing alarming stories. In one recent case, 2 German teens on a graduation trip were strip-searched, held overnight in a Honolulu detention center alongside non-violent offenders, and swiftly deported, simply because they hadn't booked enough accommodations and mentioned freelance work online. An Australian woman hoping to visit her husband in Hawaii was detained, strip-searched, DNA swabbed, and jailed overnight before being sent home, even though she'd successfully entered the US multiple times before. Another Australian writer was grilled for 12 hours at LA airport, interrogated about his political views, had his phone seized, and was deported on the spot. These incidents, targeting well-educated, law-abiding travelers, left many feeling uneasy and asking, "Is this welcome?" And it wasn't just about borders. The White House's aggressive trade policies, slapping tariffs on European, Canadian, Mexican, and Chinese products, seemed to poison the mood. The USA was sending a message to the world. We were closing the door, not opening it. And many tourists decided, okay, we'll holiday somewhere else this year. Business leaders noticed immediately. Hotels were experiencing drops in booking. Tour companies were losing income. Small businesses that relied on tourists were feeling the pinch. The U.S. Travel Association called it a self-inflicted wound, a policy choice that was hurting its own workers and companies. Meanwhile, industry insiders raised alarm signals. The Hyatt hotel chain, for example, noticed a slowdown in booking growth. The U.S. Travel Association pressed lawmakers to reconsider, arguing that when tourists stay away, it's not just the tourism industry that suffers, it's restaurants, taxi drivers, souvenir makers, and countless small businesses across the country. Some campaigns were launched to counter the slump. The U.S. Travel Association started the Visit USA lobbying effort. They went to Washington and explained, hey, tourists aren't a threat, they're an opportunity. They pressed lawmakers to ease some policies, streamline visas, and promote a more welcoming image abroad. But it's not just about the money, it's about the country's reputation. Surveys in Canada and European countries revealed a dramatic drop in willingness to visit the USA. Nearly 71% of Canadian tourists who previously came frequently decided to stay away. That's a huge drop for a nearby neighbor. European tourists were choosing Italy or Spain instead. The USA fell from its comfortable second place to third, and for a while it seemed we might sink further. And while these campaigns are a step in the right direction, we shouldn't get ahead of ourselves. It's still the Trump administration at the helm, and there are few clear signs of a turnaround yet. In fact, inbound international travel has continued to lag. A recent tourism economics report noted a nearly 12% drop in inbound visitors and says pre-pandemic levels aren't expected until around 2029. So for now, the USA still has a long road back to recovery. Meanwhile, the World Travel and Tourism Council projects a 7% decline in foreign visitor spending in 2025, about $12.5 billion lost, pushing spending to under $169 billion, or roughly 22% below the 2019 peak. In short, the Trump-linked policies are still weighing heavily on tourism, and recovery remains on pause for now. Meanwhile, campaigns to promote the USA at home and abroad are growing. The U.S. Travel Association, hotel chains, and tour companies are all trying to reconnect with tourists and repair relationships. There's a lot at stake. The tourism industry supports nearly 8 million jobs in the USA and brings in hundreds of billions of dollars each year. It's a key piece of the economic puzzle. Some say the USA made a mistake closing its doors and sending signals that tourists weren't valued. But now there's a chance to learn from those mistakes. If policymakers, businesses, and ordinary Americans can work together to show the world we're welcoming again, we might just be able to win back those tourists and the jobs and revenue that come with them. So the next time you see a group of tourists in your town, phone in hand, trying to find the best local food or the nearest museum, remember, this isn't just a vacation for them. It's a vote of confidence in America's future. It's a sign the world still wants to connect with us, to explore our sites, taste our food, and meet us face to face. The USA has a rich culture, stunning landscapes, and friendly people. The policy choices we make now will determine whether we become a closed door or a warm and welcoming home for the world once again. So let's hang up a new sign, open for visitors, and watch the tourists come back.